Let's now bring in Tom Borelli. He's a contributor at the Conservative Review. Tom, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Tom, Trump Jr. meeting with that Russian lawyer to supposedly get damaging information about Hillary Clinton. How problematic is this?
Oh, there's really nothing there. Oh, the horror. Someone actually met with someone who may represent Russian interests. I'm not sure if he really knew that at the time. What I really think's happening here is the Democrats are really overplaying the Russian card. There was a recent Harvard-Harris poll that said 64 Americans the voters think this investigation is harming the country, and 54% want to move on to real policy. I think the Democrats, again, are really overplaying their hand. In the introduction, we mentioned about former FBI Director James Comey. Think about this for a second. The former head of the FBI is a leaker, okay?
Right.
And he wrote 7 memos. 4 of them had classified information, and one of those was leaked and ended up with the New York Times story. We don't know if that's illegal or not, but he actually had government property. That was the government's property that he took home. It sounds like Hillary Clinton. It's Hillary Clinton light, and no one's really talking about that.
Well, Tom, before we get to the Comey situation, because it is indeed very problematic on a number of legal fronts, certainly from his employment agreement with the government. But you have Donald Trump Jr. meeting with a Russian lawyer.
Right.
Is this not the first sort of direct evidence of some kind of Trump-Russian collusion?
Well, certainly Democrats are doing it, and left-wing media is certainly playing that up. But the biggest thing really to take a step back and think about this for a second. Why would Putin want Trump as president? President Trump wants to build up the military. His energy policy wants to export, and he is exporting liquid natural gas to Poland, which undermines Russian influence in that region and undermines Russian economy. It makes no sense for Putin to want President Trump in the White House. It's really not logical.
Well, there certainly have been some instances where President Trump, like we saw now with the G20, to your point, challenging Putin, especially challenging Russia's dominance in terms of supplying natural gas to Europe, the U.S. presenting itself as a natural gas supplier. But the issue does seem to have been that Putin, for some or other reason, was in the Trump camp, if for nothing else than to destabilize the United States, as the Russians were backing the idea of Brexit, for example, and of other political candidates that would upset the establishment and wreak havoc. And you can certainly say that the U.S. has been in more disarray, potentially positively, but under the Trump administration. Let's talk about the Comey thing, because at the very least, his employment agreement as a government employee says you may not take government property with you, and it's not for you to then give out. So do you think there are going to be any legal consequences for this?
They should be, because otherwise there's really 2 worlds. There's a world for you, me, and your viewers, and then there's the world of the people in the government, just like Hillary Clinton got off easy. I think he needs to be investigated, because clearly it was government property that he took home, and some of it was classified. That's the exact thing that Hillary Clinton did with the State Department emails, although on a smaller level. But after all, this was Comey who investigated Clinton on these matters of taking home taking home State Department emails. So what didn't he know about that?
We're going to see if that double standard does indeed apply. We'll see how Mueller will handle that. Tom Borelli, thank you so much for your insight and for joining us. Still ahead on